we're back. I think. Are things... I don't even know.
All of his co-workers were gone.
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's head back. I want to see if I can get one of those inputs. Gotta check them all.
Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Delicious. I just had a bunch of pasta. I got pasta for the next couple of days. Gonna eat some pasta at work.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Up yours.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
It's good to admire the employee lounge.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
This
Beautiful, gorgeous room.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Yep.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Here we are, perfectly back on track.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Game's kind of stuttering. Oh well. Alright, I'm done.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that.
You saw the memo about not getting fired.
Why had he taken that risk?
Yeah.
All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations.
Wait, what?
For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
Oh, that makes sense.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Was that there before?
I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid.
That's pretty cool.
So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Woo! Floating.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
That's a good question.
The voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
My brain hurts.
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be?
You don't know what I'm thinking.
Simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself. Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
I am lost, and everything's...
Words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that?
Yeah.
The voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
What a nice dream.
The fresh air of the world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Something bad's gonna happen.
Okay.
You sound a bit shaken up by that. I'm exactly where I was.
Stanley began screaming.
Oh God.
Please, someone wake me up. My name is
Please.
Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must
Okay, don't like the red filter.
Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
I'm panicking.
And everything went black.
Bah! Inception.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Really?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
It's kind of obvious.
She thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Not walking around an empty office.
I know what is real and what isn't.
Are you sure?
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, with the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Because she got chased by a velociraptor? This game, I fucking swear.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Still gotta check these computers.
No matter how hard Stanley
Yep.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Nope.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nice employee lounge.
Sublime. A work of art. What? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Do you still have that stuff about the fern written down? I hope you did. It's going to be important soon.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Well.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah.
You really are not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you.
Are you sure?
Someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
But
now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her.
her?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Seriously, this is stuttering a lot.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay. 427.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Oh man.
Alright. Okay, there we go. Alright, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
What? Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
You're a
Go
jerk.
inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
No, fuck you. I'm out.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Uh-oh.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Right trigger?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
So mean.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Yeah.
Behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
Woo.
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
You are so depressing.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, or everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
You are the worst narrator. Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
This is getting meta.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
You're so hurtful.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world, he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see?
Damn it.
He does not hear me. How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley.
Do something.
Well, not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
Are you
I must.
narrating your own narration?
Well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Ah, what? Hey.
Pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button.
Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself.
Hey.
He constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Which is weird considering the kind of job I ended up in, you jerk.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
You know what? You can shut your fuck up.
Well, perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness.
Ooh.
Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back.
Yay.
For a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle.
Better than nothing.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, we're doing this again.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure. You really are.
You sure?
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
Redeem myself. I'll redeem you.
To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
No.
Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone?
Yeah, fuck your
That
shit.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. So let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two attach themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits.
That's not what happens, you know it.
The phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything.
None of my decisions ever mean anything.
How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're
Nope.
a real person.
Yep.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person.
Yep.
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house.
That sounds
Which
good.
choice would you make?
Probably the second
that
one.
unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack.
Well, I do need a back sack and crack. I mean, I haven't gotten one in a year. Yep. Am I... Practice? Okay. Did the,
Excellent. Making choices
Okay.
on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process.
That does not seem like a healthy
Most
decision.
medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside.
This game is
Your
weird.
instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Oh, whoa, Jesus, what the fuck?
You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative
There's
contradiction.
a fucking rail in it.
Worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Okay, yeah, let's do this. Oh, looks like somebody made it so I can't jump off and fuck you over.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to
Hence the senselessly.
possible if all the contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Not many places are. Okay. Here we go. Can't go through the shortcut, so we're just gonna go head through the employee lounge. Somebody needs to stop shit talking to me about depression and all this stuff every time I'm
Almost
fucking there.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Ideally.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I mean, I really do hate you.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Narrative contradiction is getting pretty bad, dude. I think it's far too long gone for this. Okay. And maybe... Looks like we're going the right... Whoa, nope. Something's... Yep. There we go.
I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I can't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Whoa. Nope. Jesus. That was bad. That doesn't seem to have helped things.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That would be funny. You just had to see. Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley?
Not enough,
Actually
clearly.
knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
Fuck you.
Oh, my story.
I've seen that story. It's not
If
too
you'd just
good.
gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I mean, I still don't like you.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
What?
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Fine. You win. Alright. Things seem to be...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
The broom closet's not working.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Still didn't even go down. This is a different office.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
I am the most expensive
Shocked,
boss.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door?
Maybe.
Look, there was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 117? Was that it? Did I fuck it up? I can't speak in this game. 115.
Code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115. Nope, it's not working.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you?
I think Stanley's mute.
Speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
You're a crucial step.
Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing for your respect.
Business strategy.
The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way?
'Cause you made me.
To me. Explain yourself, you coward.
Oh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Go to one on the right, dude.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything alright? Stanley, this is important.
Oh, man.
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You can't be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose.
You know, I kind of feel bad. But seriously, fuck you. Okay, feeling really bad now.